All right. Well, welcome to those of you who are tuning in. My name is Chris Arechidera. I'm alongside Mr. Jeff Mariani from Cedros Kayak Fishing. How are you doing, Jeff, today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Chris. Thanks so much for having me, man. Looking forward to this hour. It's going to go by
Absolutely.
quick.
Absolutely. So I have to ask you, what have you been up to during this quarantine? And how are things down at the island, or if you're at home, how's it going, man?
Oh, things are going real good. Thanks for asking. Ever since the Fred Hall show, my family and I, we've kind of been hiding out for a couple months. We're just starting to kind of, rejoin the human race, I guess, and get back out there. Been doing a little fishing on the side and stuff like that, and definitely keeping in touch with everyone on the island over the past several months. Just, keeping tabs. They're, wondering up, when they look at the news down there, they think every single American has COVID-19. So, because that's what their news is, you know what I mean? So, I've been doing that, just, fielding a lot of calls, man. It's really amazing how many people are still super interested in going down to the island, which makes me real excited. If we could get this thing open back up, man, I think we could, might have a chance for a really good, end of the season, fall time, which is really a great time down on the island. It'd be great to get those trips in this year for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, let's kind of rewind back here and what's going on right now? What are we at? What's the status on how soon do you think we can get back on the island?
So here's the latest from what I've been gathering over the past several weeks from the island and Baja area in general. Basically, they are slowly trying to reopen. Ensenada is allowing sport fishing. They've been doing it for about 10 days now. So some guys have been going down. Bay of LA has also had some guys going down and doing some fishing, and down in the Lopez Mateos area, which is Mag Bay. I know Cabo's been accepting some people. La Paz area is still not really going. And unfortunately for our island, they have said yes to tourism, but we have an issue right now with our airport. The airport has been closed by the Mexican government. And so we are waiting to hear word on if they are hopefully going to, turn that back around for everybody on the island and open it up. There has been a letter that's gone out that the island has put out to the government now, asking for the plane to be able to at least fly like local people from the Ensenada area, family and stuff like that, or definitely to help evacuate anyone who, maybe, had a heart attack or stroke or something like that, or is getting ready to have a baby and needs to get off the island. But right now, that is the dilemma for us on Cedros. There are no cases, but like I said, there are quite a few cases from TJ to the Ensenada zone, and then further south in Guerrero Negro, which is where the salt factory is connected to. There's been about 20 to 25 cases reported within the workers of the salt factory. So it's just everyone's, taking some caution right now and trying to just, get back to our fishing here if we can, in a manner that fits the island. There's a lot of people that live there full time that are not necessarily involved with the fishing industry or even the tourism, but that's their home. They were born and raised there. They have family there and everything. And I, at least for myself and all the people that work for me, we're making sure we're being very cognizant of what the people of the island want, and we're listening to that. And we're not going to be taking any groups down before that time. Unfortunately, today I'm going to take the opportunity on the show to announce that for Cedros Kayak Fishing, we are canceling all of our July trips as of this moment. And I'm very sorry if anyone's watching and they're on a trip and you're hearing it right now, but I think it's for our own health and the health of the island. We have to, show respect to the people down there and everything. And it's just Mexico has not officially opened everything up. And so just with that being said, I know it's, things are coming up. People are trying to plan vacations. And so I want to give guys an opportunity to maybe, plan another trip, maybe get on a sport boat or something like that around here locally, and support some of those guys if needed. But yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to run our July trips. And I know, unfortunately, we had a CCA trip right after the 4th of July. So real sorry about that.
It's all good, man. It's totally understandable too. I mean, the last thing we want to do is bring anything potentially hazardous to the island too, which is super beautiful for those that haven't been there yet. myself included. I've never been there, and this is going to be my first time, but still hoping to go. Still hoping to go. And I know you're going to be rocking and rolling here in the later half of 2020 and also in 2021 too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're, and talking with the people of the airlines, they're hoping for August, so I'm just going month to month right now. That's all we can do. The fishing is fantastic on the island right now. And in the later part of the season, that's some of our best trips. August through even into November, man, is really, really good fishing. So we got a lot of guys. My schedule is pretty much the heaviest part of my schedule was really the later part of the season. That's when all the heavy hitters are coming down anyway. And that is still great opportunity. And I'm hoping that we get that opportunity to go down there and visit with everyone and get some trips in. What I'll be offering all the guys that are signed up in July, and if we miss August, which I hope we don't, but if that happens, like always, if they want to try to move something to the later part of the season this year, great. If they want to, if they don't want to do that, I asked to see if they want to, try to move it to next year. But knowing what's going on in the world, everything's kind of, super crazy and people haven't worked and stuff like that. So I'm trying to be cognizant of all that too. And just do the best I can for everybody and, try to meet everyone's expectations and get us all through this time. You know what I mean? Like we just got to kind of try to huddle up and do it together. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, for those of you that are watching, if you have any questions for Jeff or for me at CCA, please comment in the comments below. Send them out. We'd love to answer some of your questions. And is that all right with you, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's great. I got a little fish report that I'll throw out there right now, and maybe that'll answer some questions that people are asking, wondering about the fishing. So what's been going on really since about mid-April? There was a crazy halibut bite on the island this year. I'm talking crazy. They weren't allowed to use their boats, but like guys were fishing from shore. Even guys who normally can use their boats had to fish from shore. I'm talking 20, 25-pound grade fish on plastics from shore, either side of town. Guys were getting them. So real exciting early season stuff going on there. And then right about mid-May, man, the yellowtail just started going nuts on the island. And there was a really good grade of fish there biting for a while. Most guys were just using Rapalas, just trolling Rapalas behind the boat, mag 30s. Mackerel colors, bonita pattern, that black silver pattern was working real good. And I mean, fish to 50 pounds, like big yellows eating the Rapala. So that was real exciting. Tons of bait around the island right now and lots of red crabs. And the water, if you look at Tent Break or any of your favorite, Terrafin or whatever you watch, man, the water is so warm on the front side of the island. I'm talking mid to upper 60s already, and it's been like that for over a month. So, the calicos have just started to really go. A lot of guys are getting out on their boats now and fishing. And so the calico bite, like they're being able to get up to Punta Norte and around to Pier de Colorado area and stuff like that and get into the better calico bites. They're talking about seeing spawning fish and things like that. Lots of big full bellies, lots of red crabs in their stomachs and stuff like that too. So, man, it's really, things are really, it's setting up to be a really good season down there. So hopefully things, start, slowly opening up for us, and we'll see what happens if we can't get a few guys down there.
Awesome. Well, let's you kind of started going into it already, so let's talk gear. Let's talk all the way from the basics all the way to what you're suggesting. Someone told me, little birdie told me, that you're all about those SP minnows from Daiwa.
That I kind of preach that lure, you know what I mean, because it's such a versatile lure and we can seriously catch all species of fish. A lot of guys come down and they're not very experienced in the kayaks especially, but they want to try it. And so it's such a great lure just to be able to, it's something they can just cast and retrieve. It's not like a ton of thought process that has to go into how you're using that lure. So you can concentrate a little bit more on staying balanced and stuff like that, but yet just go ahead and cast it out, cast and retrieve, and you get so many fish on that lure. So, for Cedros, I think I always tell everyone, bring the stuff that you want to bring, of course, but like really on the rods, it's a 4-rod situation. I mean, we're flying on these smaller planes, and it doesn't matter if you're coming with me or if you're with one of the other tours on the island, packing is kind of the same, so you don't want to overthink this fishery either, because like they bite down there, they bite well. And if you stay focused, especially listen to the tips that we give, because I'm talking to people before they come, weeks trying to give some, keep them up to date on like the latest colors and things that are going on. But I always tell everyone 4 rods, you need 2 bass rods and you need 2 rods for yellowtail. So basically one of your bass rods will be for like swim bait fishing. And then another one will be one that you would use for like a stick bait, or maybe you might put on like an 80-gram flat fall, because we really like to use spoons and stuff like that too. You get a lot of fish that way. And then you need 2 yellowtail rods. You need you want to bring your jig stick, like, because a lot of guys like throwing iron. You can also throw the SP Minnow. They make a 6 3/4 inch lure, which is the one that I use, the bigger model. And that thing, you can throw it as far as any surface iron. And so you want a nice big heavy, your heavy jig stick, and then you want a live bait rod, because we have been getting into it more and more. Live bait down there on days when you're not, being productive with your jigs and stuff like that. Boy, you put out a piece of live bait, you'd be surprised how fast you get bit. I kind of learned that last year, because I'm pretty much like, I like fishing artificials. I like fishing plastic stick baits, the weedless bait, all that kind of stuff. And so it's hard for me to, we're getting so many fish, it's hard to like switch over. And but man, last year we had some really slow days, and it was kind of shocking how fast, like, we didn't even make bait, but then here we are fishing in an area, we're all throwing lures, we're not catching anything, there's bait everywhere. We start jigging up bait, guys start slow trolling max, and next thing you know, everyone's got yellows. So it's always real important to have your jig stick or your live bait stick with you too as well. So as far as lures and stuff like that, this calico fishing is where everyone, I think, gets, you can end up, using your 30 pounds of weight really quick, because plastics alone weigh a lot, So that's where the SP Minnow or like the War Blade is another really good bait. It's a very durable bait, so you can catch several fish on those baits. I kind of got away from using any lighter lead heads. I'm pretty much strictly the War Baits, 2 ounce or 3 ounce. And the reason for the War Baits is there's a lot of models out there. But if you don't have something strong, like a lot of guys, if you follow me on Instagram and stuff like that, you saw like 60-pound white sea bass that we were getting last year on plastics, you know what I mean? So if you don't have a good lead head with a good hook in it, you're already chances of losing fish are great. So that lead head alone, that 3 ounce, that allows you to fish the whole water column. You can fish from 0 feet of water down to 50, 60 feet of water. And the most effective part about the heavier lead head is, as your lure is dropping, your swim bait is actually swimming. And that's how I got a lot of those white sea bass last year, was using a heavier lead head, cast it out and let it sink in those pockets. And I was getting bit on the sink. That's how I got almost all of those fish. So staying to that sort of setup with your plastics and lead heads. And then definitely you got to have your weedless baits. That was something that Corey and Ben Florentino showed me last year. Blew my mind. I never was really a weedless swim bait fishing guy, but wow, I mean, you don't need kelp to even fish those things. I mean, you can throw those things into the boiler rocks and they fish great anywhere. Open water, I mean, we were getting calicos on them, so that's another really fun, productive way to catch calicos. As far as yellows, live bait fishing, 3/0 to 5/0, maybe 6/0, whatever your favorite size is within that range. Ringed or unringed, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the confidence of fishing the gear that you want. It's more about your leader. Like, guys come down, and that's the one thing that I see. Everyone's used to fishing up here, 40-pound for yellows and stuff like that. I pretty much fish exclusively 60-pound leader for everything, even my calico bass fishing. Corey has told me that that's too light for calicos on the weedless, and I learned that last year at Chester's Rock. Had hooked a couple fish that he was saying were 7-8 pound class, bigger ones. Broke me off right away on 60-pound. Sounds crazy, but it's just, there's a lot of big fish and a lot of fish at the same time. So having that heavier line, one, you get all your bites, and two, you don't have to retie as much, which is a big thing that a lot of guys don't do that fish lighter line. So
Gotcha. So we do have a couple questions coming in here.
Rad.
Clayton wants to know, anyone book a trip through the COA and having any issues? I'm not sure if that, Clayton, if you want to retype your answer, or I'm not entirely sure. Wayne wants to know, what are the best jigs for exclusively yellowtail? What would you recommend?
For me, we got a lot of great manufacturers out there. They all pretty much do the same thing, and they all make in pretty much the same colors. So it's more almost like personal preference. Like, a lot of guys are a tatty lure, kicker 25, of course, very good jig. That's what I got my world record on. So if someone's asking me what my personal is, what I'm going to, first thing I'm throwing is my kicker. You know what I mean? I'm going to throw that kicker 25 if I'm not throwing my SP. That's just what I go to. And then my JRI jig, which is another very good swimming jig. If I know I need to fish a jig a little bit faster, I'm going to go to the JRI style because they're heavier. Taddy 45 is a little bit heavier, and also the Salis models, But any of those, if you got to stick to the standard, man. Blue and white, that mint and white, or all mint. You know what I mean? Kind of whatever your color is right there. Like it's a confidence thing, man. What are you going to throw out there, and then be holding your rod in the correct position and paying attention to what your jig's doing so that you get bit. You can probably throw a silver one out there. If you lock in on what you're doing, you're gonna make that thing swim the way it needs to swim. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of guys don't understand, especially with a jig, man. You got to have some water over that thing. Like it's got to be down in the water a little bit so it swims correctly, and you have to have the proper cadence. You'll hear Afrin talk about that all the time. It's a proper cadence when you wind. It doesn't matter if you're winding a swim bait back or a jig or whatever. Like there's a cadence to it. You got to make that thing swim. You got to think like a bait fish. You know what I mean? So that would be, any of those models. It's a confidence thing, whatever you're into. But your standard colors, and don't forget scrambled egg. I mean, that thing works like everywhere. You know what I mean?
Nice. All right. Zach wants to know, what if we are not interested in bass? Can we just fish yellowtail?
Man, that's the beauty of our place, especially, Cedros kayak fishing. Typically it's, 4 to 6 guys at a time. So we get to do whatever we want. If you're not a bass guy, it's great that I know that before you come down, because I'll cater to the trip towards whatever you want. You want to focus on yellows the whole time? No problem. That doesn't bother me at all. I have 2 pongas. And so it's very simple for me to divide the group and go whatever everybody needs to do that makes them the happiest, so that, they're getting the most out of their trip. That's the way I feel about this thing. I mean, when I built this thing, the reason I built it is because it's kind of hard. I know a lot of guys that travel to Baja, they'll understand what I'm saying. Like, we all love Baja. We want to go down there. We want to fish. But, man, sometimes it gets tough, man. Like, you go to these guys, you give them a bunch of dough, you get on their ponga, and then they take you to some jack place. You know what I mean? And you're not catching, and it's all, it just like, so it was important to me to be able to have guys come down. You're on a vacation with me. I take this shit personal. Like, you're coming down, and I want to make sure that I'm showing you a good time. Like, you got to go back to work in 4 or 5 days. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that you sign up for next year, because you're like, man, that was what I paid my money for. So yeah, if someone wanted to be specific yellows, I'm into it. Like, I'll try for anything. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
For sure. Awesome. Let's see. We've got another one. Carrie wanted to know, what is your method for getting live bait? And then she said that you just answered it. Dan wants to know, do you offer side trips over to Bonitos Islands?
Absolutely. That was one thing for my group, and when I built my place, is to make sure my boats are efficient, so that we could go places and I don't have to ask people for more money and stuff like that. So absolutely. I look at the weather every single day. And what I want to do is, Cedros is a great place to fish. Don't get me wrong. There's some good stuff there. But for guys who don't get to go, or have only been to like the Bonitos or Cedros area, like on a sport boat, to go over there on a ponga is like unbelievable. And to get the kayak at Bonitos is even better. So absolutely, man. Like, if there's a weather window and everyone's into it, because it's a little bit of a boat ride, but if everyone's into it, we're absolutely 100% going. And another new spot that I started visiting a lot last year was Chester's Rock, which is absolutely on my circuit now. That place is so fishy over there, and we had some phenomenal days. And I'm really looking forward to showing more people that fishery over there, because yes, it's great calico fishing, but the amount of yellows and the grade of yellows that we saw and caught over there, that place is awesome. I never knew. That was my first time fishing there last year. And I couldn't get enough of it. I mean, it's really a great area. Touching back on the bait, we're this year, unfortunately, we're not down there right now. But I planned on upping my game on the bait. So what we normally do is, like everyone else in the morning, we get on the boat, we drive, we go try to find bait. We sometimes waste an hour, making bait, which drives me bonkers. That's why I never like to stop for bait. You waste so much time. So this year, my kid that works at the tackle shop, he was interested in being a boat captain. So what I've done is he went to school, got his license, and so now he's going to work in the tackle shop in the afternoon, but in the mornings, he's going to run my third ponga, which is like my cargo ponga. Basically, he's going to, start getting some time behind the wheel and getting to learn how to use a boat, but he's going to start making bait for me in the morning. And then I bought some receivers, and we'll put those on our buoy that we have in the harbor. So kind of, gives him an opportunity to get some time on the water. And then at the same time, he's helping us out by, catching mackerel and stuff like that, so that we have it on hand, so that, we try to save time. It's people like to fish bait, but like, I'm always so reluctant because it takes up that time in the morning, especially if we're going to Bonitos or something like that. Last thing I want to do is waste an hour making bait and not get over there. Just wanted to elaborate a little deeper on our bait situation and what I'm working on for if it happens for this year or next year, whenever. But like, that's going to be our new bait situation.
Oh, that's going to be so rad. I can't wait. I really can. So Dave wants to know, what's your favorite color jig for yellowtail? You kind of mentioned scrambled egg earlier, but I'm kind of curious.
So, okay, my favorite color is one that I painted myself. It's called Ocean Breeze, and my daughter and I bought the can of Krylon at Joann's, the craft store.
Nice.
And I had some jigs laying around one day a few years ago. I did this, and I painted it so it's like a solid. It's pretty much a mint color, but it's a lighter mint than that green mint that a lot of guys have. It's more of a lighter color. But ultimate, that is my ultimate. It looks like a pinfish, which a lot of people don't even really know what a pinfish is, but that is a fish that is found everywhere, especially up and down our coast. And it is a very good food source for like yellows, for calicos, for everything, kind of imitates a smelt too, that same color. So, which a lot of people don't know that those, yellows love smelt. I mean, they stink, but man, the fish love them.
I guess that's all that matters in that case.
Yeah, as long as you get bit, right? That's what we're looking for.
Exactly. So Cole wants to know, how are we looking for our October trip?
So right now, I would have to still say, like, I'm going to say October's a go, because I feel like things could turn around by then. Obviously, it's only June. But I want to say that I still feel confident that we're going to be able to get down there in the later part of this season and get some fishing in for sure. So hang in there, man. Hang in there. Like, let's just keep the faith. Let's hope that we can do it. And but right now, I'm saying yes. We're gonna have an opportunity to go.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Dave also wants to know, what is the best method to target halibut down there at Cedros?
So the best method is to come down early season with me in like March or April, to be quite honest. Right after the Fred Hall show, that's when the halibut go crazy down there. And man, we end up with so many fish just using white plastics, but I'm dying to go down there and like dropper loop mackerel or smelt that we catch in the harbor, or sardine or something like that. So pretty much to me, the best method is white plastics or doing some sort of like dropper loop setup and dragging live bait around. But earlier in the season, the April, May time frame is really when we have our best chance for halibut down on the island, and March even too. Like, I try to time the full moon, so I always say late March and then anytime in April, that new moon or full moon, if we got a good weather window. I typically plan trips every year around that time. Kevin Nakata is someone that comes with me always early season, or Jim Salazar was a guy that came with me on my very first trip ever. And that's when we kind of discovered the great halibut fishing that early season on white plastic. So early season is something that I would recommend for someone that really wants to get into halibut fishing. And let's do it, man. It's I'm dying to get a fish over 15 pounds. That's my biggest is 15, and that's something I got right here at Point Furman when I was growing up in San Pedro fishing there. So yeah, I've seen some giants down there, and I would love to get my hands on one of those for sure.
Very cool. So Bill Varney is checking in. Hello, Bill. He says,
Morning.
thanks for the tips, Jeff. What can you tell us about surf fishing the island? Can we make it to the windward side to fish from the shore?
So I would say the surf fishing that we are finding is very good. So this season, just by chance, Kevin was down, Kevin Nakata, and we had a lady on our trip and she needed to use the restroom. So we went ashore, and then Kevin proceeded to throw out chunk mackerel, believe it or not. And he was catching 3 to 5 pound corvina from on the calm side of the island from shore, which was hilarious on chunk mackerel. So that, and we got those fish called, I think they're called like a porgy or something like that. They kind of look like a giant surf perch, but they have a mouth like a sheephead. Very good eating though, very, very good eating. So I would have to say, yes, the surf fishing is very good. As far as getting to the backside of the island, yes, it's absolutely obtainable. And with my truck or my Jeep, we can definitely get over there and do some good fishing. And then, like everyone saw, the new Razor that I got this year, I specifically got that so that we could go visit the forest up there at the top of the mountain, and then also fish that beach on the backside. So looking forward to getting you down there, Mr. Varney, and learning more about my surf fishing fishery down there for sure. That'd be fantastic.
For sure. And he's certainly the best at it too. So that'd be a good trip to
knowledge. Absolutely.
For sure. So Dan also wants to know, do you allow spear fishermen to come and stay with you on the island?
Absolutely, 100%. It would be nice if you got a buddy, because pretty much like spearfishing is, the same but different than what we're doing. So if I got a guy on the boat trying to, just regular hook and line fish, and you're over there spearfishing, well, now I'm not paying attention to. So absolutely, I'm into it. I got some great spots. If you came down by yourself and there was other fishermen, I would just take you out on one of my other boats so that I could focus specifically on the spearfishing and making sure that I got you lined up on the high spot, and then obviously staying with you, which is a very important thing throughout that process. So yeah, absolutely would love to have someone come down. We haven't had anyone come down and spearfish. One guy came down, borrowed a gun from somebody one day, and got a couple calicos, believe it or not, over by the airport in some little pocket, but nothing serious yet. So yeah, I would love to have someone come down and really focus on it. I actually had a big yacht that came down last year from the San Pedro area, and the people were from Colorado, so they flew in on their plane, and then we took them out to their boat, and then we spent a couple of days with them with our pongas and our kayaks, and I actually took them scuba diving, which I didn't scuba dive myself, but I just took them. I'd never done that before. So when I got there and the guy asked me, oh, so you're experiencing this? I'm like, well, I've never done it, but like, what do you want to see? You know what I mean? And so all I did was take them to the same spots where we go fish, and like, all they did was come back and tell me how great the area was where we've already been fishing, how many fish they saw. Like one guy came up saying, I counted 50 lobster in 25 minutes, so I know that the areas that I'm thinking about to take someone spearfishing, we will have a very, very good time for sure.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let me ask you this. For those of us who have never been either to the island or with you to the island, walk us through a typical trip. What are we looking forward to? How's your place? What kind of kayaks are we going to be fishing with?
Sure. So how our place works, basically, and everyone's kind of the same. You're either flying from the Tijuana International Airport, or you're going to be flying from Ensenada. So like our tour, we fly from Ensenada. We're a smaller group. We tried to make arrangements to go through TJ. It just wasn't working out. The price point was just driving up the cost of my trip too much and making it unbearable. And so we're going back through Ensenada. So basically what we do at my tour, because there's only 5 of us, we rendezvous at Fastlane Kayaks right there in Mission Bay. Ron watches our cars, nice, safe, free parking right there by his shop. And then I have a charter van that picks us up and then takes us across the border. First stop is right at the border, immediate at the border. We stop and we go in and get our visa because we need that. It's a travel visa. Anyone who goes to, like, say, just to Ensenada, you don't need that travel visa. But once you're going to cross past Ensenada and go visit anywhere else, If you got stopped by authorities, they would ask you for that visa. If you didn't have it, now you got one more thing you get to deal with. So we stop for those. They're free. If you're staying for under 7 days, they're free. So we stop to pick up that, and then it's about an hour and a half down, and we end up in Ensenada, where we stop depending on what flight we're on, because now we're running 2 flights per day usually. So if we're on the morning flight, we get down to Ensenada about 7:30 in the morning or so. We go to my favorite French restaurant, have a real nice sit-down breakfast, and then we stop at the Casa de Cambio, which is the money exchange house, and get some pesos, because the pesos are easier for the people on the island. And then we go over to the airport in Ensenada, which is really a military base. And that's where the plane comes. And so we sit around there for about an hour. I try to time all of this so that we're not spending too much time wasted in the airport. And so then once we're there in the airport, they check our bags. We wait around for the plane. Once the plane comes and we're boarded, it's an hour and 35 minutes and you're at the island. So on a good day, when there's no overcast or fog, like we fly right over the water, so you have a great view of the Baja coast if you're on the port side of the plane, and if you're sitting starboard, you're looking out to the ocean. But as we get closer to Cedros, definitely on the starboard side, you see the island first, and you can get a good view of Bonitos also at the same time as you're flying in. So it's a nice flight, especially if you can see the water. We fly at about 8,000 feet. So if there's any sort of sea life, whales or dolphin or even schools of fish I've seen before, you see kelp patties and weird current lines, and, you fly over San Martin Island, Geronimo, and you see Sac Reef and stuff like that. So it's a nice flight. It goes by fairly quickly. And then once you land on the island, my crew is there always waiting for you, and it's the same with any of the places that the guys are waiting there for you. And then we get your bags and get you loaded up in our trucks and drive you over to our house, and get you situated in your room. Only single room occupancy at our place. Most guys know that by now, but especially for the new rules and regulations that are coming up with this COVID and stuff like that, and we're all talking about social distancing and stuff like that. Ultimately, Cedros kayak fishing is set up the best out of all the tours. We're single room occupancy. We only have 5, maybe 6 guys tops. I have 3 pongas. If I had to put 2 guys on a boat just so we could all spread out a little bit more, we're set up to really accommodate what the new rules and regulations are going to be here coming up. And, even for around our house, it's like there's so much room and so much area for everyone just to kind of, have their own little space, that that's kind of what sets us, I think, apart once we transition into this new phase here to see what's going on. People will be a lot more comfortable, be able to, rest assured, knowing you're going to bed in your own room. I get it, but some of the other places, there's 4 guys in a room. So unless it's your 4 family members, I'm not sure I'm sleeping in there, to be honest.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of guys would prefer the single occupancy as opposed to sharing a room.
Yeah, I'd imagine. And even without all this stuff that's going on, I really, when you come on a vacation with us, that's what it is. You're coming on a vacation. So I want you to be comfortable, and everyone, we love our friends, man. I love my buddies. But at the end of the night, man, I really don't love them anymore. I need 8 hours just to take a break, man. And I'm sure they need a break from me. I'm a handful, I know. So it's nice to have a little bit of space, go in your room, talk to your wife a little bit, stuff like that. You know what I mean? You sleep by yourself. It's just, it's a lot, and comfort's key. We're fishing 11 hours a day. We're on the boat 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. usually. So that's long days. Come home, you have just enough time to take a shower. I feed you, you mess with your tack a little bit. Maybe we have a beer by the fire, and it's time to go to bed. You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we're, getting good sleep at night, especially, so that we can fish hard the next day.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the gear options here. I know you've got the tackle store down there. So if you're telling people, or the newbies like me, what are you asking them to bring, if anything?
So I want everyone to always bring whatever, everyone has a favorite jig they love fishing with. And sure, it might not be something that they're biting at the island right then and there, but I always like people to bring that favorite thing, because I've learned a lot of things about curly tail worms and things like that I've never fished before, but that they catch yellowtail. You know what I mean? When sometimes nothing else is so I always recommend that people bring, a couple things that they truly love to fish, that they fish around here. And then obviously like listen to the recommendations, because the recommendations are for a reason. Like if you are someone that you have a bunch of blue or green swim baits, but like there's an invasion of red crabs all of a sudden that week, the week before your trip, and I'm telling you, bring down some red swim baits, like you're going to want to do that. You know what I mean? Because that's my goal for you is for you to catch the 100 fish a day like I've been catching. So that's why I put out those recommendations, you know. As a basic, as a minimum, if someone came down with 2 lures, if they brought down a 6-inch Daiwa SP minnow, the floating model in the laser sardine color, and then upgraded the split rings and the hooks for sure, because the split rings are not capable of handling the fish down there, and they brought down an 80-gram flat fall, they could throw those 2 lures only the entire time and go home, and I guarantee they would sign up again. Like those 2 lures are absolutely a must for everyone. With that flat fall, that's the blue sardine color, it's my favorite. And we catch anything from calico bass to yellowfin tuna, dorado. I hooked a wahoo a couple years ago on the flat fall. I mean, that thing is super versatile. So those are 2 great lures. But as far as basics, like I would tell everyone, bring 2-ounce lead heads, especially if you're new to swim baits. Don't bring anything lighter, bring a 2-ounce, because if it gets a little breezy, easier to cast, stuff like that. A lot of times we're fishing calicos in 40 to 50 feet of water, believe it or not. And so that heavier lead head helps get you down there. I would bring 5-inch to 7-inch swim baits. I wouldn't get too crazy. I would bring, pick some of the better brands that are on the market. Like for sure, like, you know, I know Afrin's pulling some baits, but like Corey's baits are strong and durable. The MC swim baits, you want to bring those. Raj Garage is another swim bait that I throw personally all the time. Those are like the only 2 brands I throw because of their durability. It's very important because you go through these things fast, you know. Then you bring down like the assortment of colors that I recommend, like which is going to be like smelt. It's going to be like a grunion color, and it's going to be like the Christmas tree color or something along those lines. And then if you're fishing weedless, I'm going to tell you to get like that 9-aught hook, I believe, or the 10-aught trail car hook with the 3/4 ounce weight on it. Very important for keeping the bait balanced correctly. And then any of Corey's weedless ones, his grunion color and the one I call the gray belly, like those 2, like if you took no other baits, like I would bring down those colors, like because just of my fish to, you know, my casting to catching ratio is so high with those 2 specific colors especially. And then as far as yellowtail, I would bring, you know, I really have a hard time throwing a surface iron anymore because I am so addicted to the SP minnow. I throw the 6 3/4-inch model, and then my little trick is I put a split ring on the nose, and then I switch out the back hook to a single hook, a single 3/0 Gamakatsu hook on just a normal split ring. That allows that bait to, I can crank it faster than a surface iron. And so I get more bites. Then I'll stand right next to someone and I'll outfish them for sure because I can crank that thing faster. Yellowtail are absolutely reactionary strike dudes. Like they are into it, man, and they are into the speed. And so I've figured that out over the last couple of years. Like you throw that thing out and you turn the handle as fast as you can. You make yourself look silly, but everyone will be laughing until your rod bends again and again and again because they're motivated by that speed. So that single hook allows you to crank that thing faster, and it kind of skips out of the water even a little bit too, which is exciting bites, man. I've had this past year, especially, I had a lot of birds and fish fighting for my bait at the same time, like pelicans trying to eat the SP minnow and then a yellowtail taking it from him, like right on the surface. I mean, it's like, so to me, like that's like the ultimate, but then any surface iron, you know what I mean? Like everyone has their favorite. And so you bring the standard colors, blue and white, bring that scrambled egg color, bring a mint color. And then you're going to want a yo-yo type jig. For me, my favorite yo-yo is a 100-gram flat fall. But, you know, Salas 6X Junior, like that would be my go-to second backup. And then all the same colors that we would fish the surface, you know, down deep. If I tell you there's a bunch of red crabs, Kevin taught us this a couple years ago, you bring down a red heavy jig because you will not be able to keep the fish off of it. Like you will fish it until you lose it. Like that's what'll happen. Like I never thought that fish would eat a solid red jig. I didn't even think they could see down there, but that solid red color is so productive when there's a bunch of red crab around, and everyone should bring one. Kicker has made a really, they're 25. Like Randy's getting crazy with the red colors these days. And man, it's like, those things are so perfect for the calicos when there's a bunch of red crab around. I mean, they're the way you can swim those things in the shallows, because they're a lot lighter than a lot of the other jigs. The surface iron bite for calicos is something that I've never really experienced. Ben is the one that kind of showed me what's going on with that down there on the island. Like you can throw that thing anywhere. I mean, he was fishing in the kelp. I didn't even know you could do that. It's a treble hook. Like I was like, why is it not getting hung up? You know what I mean? But I think that lighter style jig was in, man, the bigger calicos love surface iron, in case anyone didn't know that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can speak from experience. Speaking of Benny Florentino is checking in. He says,
Nice.
Don't forget the red jigs, which is what we were just talking about. Zach says he's coming down in 2021 with the Fish Village. That's awesome.
Nice.
Clayton has a question. I know you just touched on it briefly, but if you want to just do it again real quick. Is the airport just closed because of COVID, or is there any current issues with the airstrip?
So it's not closed because of COVID. There is a current issue. Basically what's happened from what my intel, what I've gotten is there was someone on the island who wanted to see some improvements done at the airport. And so some letters were written to a lot of the big newspapers in Mexico, and because of his connections, and they were published. And then the Mexican government caught wind of it and caught wind of the condition of the airport. And so they have officially shut down the airport on the island until repairs are made. So that's kind of what's going on right now. The airport has been officially closed by the Mexican government, and they had said there was going to be up and running by November, but there's no one down there working on anything. So I don't know what's going on. The government, or the people of the island, the mayor, he has issued a letter to the governor of Baja requesting that the plane can come from Ensenada, not for tourism yet, but to at least bring family members that want to go back and forth from Ensenada, and then also help evacuate like any maybe sick people, like that, you know, maybe stroke, or someone's they need to get out of there because they're having, you know, they're pregnant, they're going to have a baby, you know, things like that. So but even for that kind of stuff, the plane cannot go there right now. If you're sick or injured or something on the island, you have to leave there by boat. So that is what's going on with the airport right now. We are under a holding pattern, and we're closed down basically because of that. There is no COVID cases on the island, and there hasn't been yet throughout this outbreak. The people of the island, if anyone's just checking in kind of later now, in my humble opinion, from all the families that I talk to, because I don't only deal with only families that are directly related with my place. You know, I'm very community oriented down there, and the people of the island, for everybody to know, like, they're scared, man. They are. You know what I mean? Like, they get very limited news, but what they get, like, they think every American has it. And so there's a lot of older people on that island, a lot of people that have, you know, born and raised there. Some people have never left. You know, they have families, generations and stuff like that. And I don't think it's very responsible of us to rush down there and potentially, like, you could go down there and not even know you're sick. You could seriously come down and stay with me for 4 days and not even know that you had something and end up going home. And I don't think any of us would feel very good if we knew that someone on that island that has lived, it's a hard life, you guys, on that island. We all know who's been there before. Like, it's a tough place to live. And to think that people have lived there 70 years, 80 years, and then something like COVID could take them out, like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? So we're just all being really cognizant of that. I don't know that even if the airport was open that I would rush down there right now. Like, it's just, you know, we all gotta, you know, like, use our heads a little bit, like, don't get too crazy. You know, there's a lot of great fishing going on up here. You know what I mean? It's a very respectable place down there. We want to be able to go there for years to come. So, but ultimately, like, we need the airport repaired. The things that I know from talking to, like, pilots and stuff like that, that have been to the island and know, like, the things that we need to do, you know, there needs to be a fence, a secure fence around the whole place. That's, you know, it's a big airport, so that would take time in itself. The runway itself, you know, needs resurfacing, would be fantastic. You know what I mean? Get rid of some of those potholes. lighting, and then also the main building where we all check in and stuff like that. I know that that needs to be revamped with a little bit more security and stuff like that. So, you know, with all that said, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be, you know, like super crazy. I'm just a realist, but I mean, man, we're dealing with Mexico. Like it, I mean, dude, if that's what they say, it could be a couple years. You know what I mean? Let's all hope not. Of course, I'm not hoping that, but like, you know, you never know. You know, if that's what it's going to take to get it reopened, I hope they start the work soon. You know what I mean? And I'll go down there. I'm ready to go down and volunteer, man. I know how to dig holes for fencing and not very good with asphalt, but like you know, I want to be able to go down there, man. It's such a cool spot, and you know, we're coming off of a very good season last year, and we were setting up for, man, like definitely, you know, we're in growing mode, man. Like my place, we're doing things so different than everyone else, man. I got the coolest group of customers by far. Like it is so fun. I had as much fun on my June trips last year as I did on my ones in October. I mean, we really have a good clientele base of just good, solid people, from beginner fishermen to all the way up to like pros, you know what I mean? And it is fun to be with all of you guys all the time and fishing. Like, it's one part about this that I enjoy the most, is that I get to go out there and go fish with everyone every single day. You know what I mean? And that, I mean, man, you know, we're fishing Cedros, Bonitos, might be Natividad, Chester's Rock, wherever I think we're going to have the best bite. You know what I mean? And I just hope things get better real quick and they fix the airport for us so we can get down there, man, for sure.
For sure, for sure. Hey, Kevin Nakata's checking in. So much fun catching shallow water halibut.
Absolutely. That guy, you know, he showed us how to use Corey's big slug. Like right now, it was Kevin's charter that still holds the record at our place, 31 pounds and 18 feet of water from the kayak, with a man who I don't think Ken has ever caught a halibut, especially a 31 pounder, with his son there, you know what I mean? Like just, and all, you know, with Kevin's guidance, you know what I mean? Helping us through it, man. Yeah, it was, if you know, that guy, I don't know if I have any trips signed up. He was real busy this year, so he didn't sign up. But man, if that guy signs up trips in 2021, everyone who has a chance to sign up, if you want to learn something just about how you fish yourself, man, you go fishing with Kevin just for one day, and you will be surprised at the amount of knowledge that he has and what you can pick up just on your skills that you're doing. Something you think you're a good fisherman. Like, I consider myself a pretty good fisherman. I go fishing with that guy, and I learned that sometimes I don't even know how to turn my handle correctly. You know what I mean? So it's you know, he's a wealth of knowledge, and to get that guy down there on a more full-time basis and show me that fishery a little bit more, man, it'd be shocking, I bet, to see the things we could learn down there. It's a great spot, and he's a good dude.
For sure. And we're actually going to have him on here in a couple of weeks too.
Nice.
So we're really looking forward to having him.
Absolutely.
And he also mentioned that the food is fantastic, which I've also heard as well.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I super appreciate that. Yeah, we're, you know, I love making sushi. I've learned some things from Kev. He comes down. He's always, you know, the first one to want to cook something with the sheephead or the porgy or something like that. Interesting that if he catches it. So yeah, no, it is really fun. Lulu, we have a new cook down there now, Lulu, and she is, you know, she's a just good, authentic style meals. And everyone seemed to really gravitate towards her style of cooking really fast once we got her on board last year. So thanks a lot for that, Kev. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, man.
Now with the pizza oven too, man. Like we broke that thing in slow last year, but now, you know, I got a load of wood down there already. I got a bunch of oak, so yeah, we're ready to start cooking pizzas too down there. So.
Oh my gosh, like it can't get any better. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it can. Don't worry. We got some more surprises.
Very cool. Well, for those of you who have just joined us, if you guys have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. We'd love to answer them for you as we're wrapping up here in the next couple minutes or so. Everyone's checking in here. Zach says, I brought 2 brass red jigs after Kevin said to, which is nice. Wayne also suggested to bring multiple red jigs.
Yeah, you know, it's and it doesn't, you know, you can paint them yourself if you got an old beat up jig, man. Just go buy some Krylon red. I mean, you know, I've done it that way too, and but it's amazing how important it is, especially when those red crab are around, you know. Especially.
Yeah. So let's go back to the food real quick. I think there's a picture on your website of a campsite, and you guys are just cooking tacos on the beach or something like that. You've got to give me the scoop on that. Does that really happen?
That dude, it really does happen. So, especially with kayak trips, because it's a little bit easier with our kayak trips. I love to have beach barbecues if people are into it. It takes a little bit of time out of our day, of course. But what we like to do, usually it's on the front side of the island, you know, the lee of the island, the calmer side. We'll drive up to the Punta Norte area, somewhere in there. We'll get everybody in the water. We'll start fishing. And then about 10 o'clock or so, Christian will start sneaking away in the boat, and he'll go down, you know, maybe a mile or two, not too far from where we're fishing, and he'll set up our beach camp. We've got a nice Hobie easy up, and then he'll fire up the barbecue. And then whatever we decided we were going to cook for the day, there's been times where my wife will pack sirloin burgers from Costco, so we're barbecuing sirloin burgers down there, or making pollo asado, or you know, maybe Lulu will make us a big pot of birria or something like that that we'll enjoy on the beach. So yeah, it's absolutely something that we enjoy doing if everyone's into it. Christian's a great cook. He loves barbecuing, and you know, obviously everyone knows my guys. I mean, the hardest working dudes ever. You know what I mean? Like, they love doing all these little things because the beach is real enjoyable. You know, we're all down there. We're on a fishing trip, I know. But man, like Cedros, like a lot of you guys, you got to see some of the videos of all the whale bones and stuff like that I had people help me gather. The matros, especially Chris and Ron, you know, helped me get that big 12-foot long jawbone from the beach. You know, there's so much goodness like walking around on the beaches that it really is. It's fun for me to try to get everyone to take that time, that hour, to get out of the boat a little bit. Gives us time to hang out right there, have a good hot lunch, walk around a little bit, you know, explore, and you know, then get back in the kayaks and finish the day. But yeah, that's it's huge. We've caught fish. Like, I'll tell everyone, okay, you know, catch your lunch for me real quick. So I'll tell everyone, catch it like a 2-pound calico, 1.5, 2-pound calico. You know what I mean? Nice, good slot size. We're not, you know, affecting anything. We're probably helping the species, if anything, you know. So everyone will catch their lunch, and then they come in. Christian will clean it all up or whatever, and then we'll fillet it or cook it whole, just pan fry it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just it's a nice little break and a good way to show people more of what's going on the island than just you know, just the fishing part, for sure.
Oh, that sounds amazing, man. You got me hooked already. So let's go back to kind of the gear that your setup, I should say. You're primarily a kayak outfit over at Cedros, but you do have those pangas. So what do you say to the guy who hasn't really kayaked before or is just getting into it, but you do have the safety net of the pangas, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Great question. For us, like I tell everyone, even when I talk to them at the show, you don't have to be a kayak fisherman to come with us. I know the name says Cedros Kayak Fishing, and it is something that I truly love. But I do have 2 pongas that are fully set up for fishing. And if we wanted to leave the kayaks in the garage, that's totally fine by me. We plan our day at dinner the night before. And so I just talk to the group and I figure out what everyone wants to do. Some guys have never kayaked and they really want to try it. And I love showing them because those kayaks, the Hobies, are so stable. I know you had asked a question earlier about what kind of kayaks we have, and I'll get into that in just a sec. But yeah, as far as you know, maneuvering through a trip and doing whatever somebody wanted to do, kayak for half a day, ponga the rest of the day, I'm totally into that. You know, I get prepared the night before, and that way I'm able to do whatever anybody needs to do. And having the 2 pongas, I'm able to divide up. And plus I have my personal whaler down there, a 22-foot whaler. So if someone needed something super special, you know, like someone was asking earlier, they wanted to, you know, strictly go for yellows. If the rest of the group didn't, like, I have that opportunity to take someone on my whaler also. So yeah, lots of opportunity to do whatever anyone wanted and try, you know, fish the island however they would like on their vacation, you know. As far as the kayaks, I just want to mention, you know, we're exclusive Hobie. I wouldn't touch another kayak. I wouldn't get on another one. Like, there is no other kayak. If you want to fish the way, especially the style of fishing that we're doing on the island, and you want to have a chance to catch that grade of fish, I don't know how you would do it on any other boat. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have your hands free. You have to. You have to have a balanced boat. You have to have a spot, good storage where you could get to everything. You have to have a safe spot for your transducer, a spot to put your fish finder. I mean, it's just like, their bait tank is a joke. Like bait stay alive in that thing all day. Like you could put 10 mackerel in there, they'll stay there all day. I mean, it's just their product is top of the line, and it's fun to be able to put guys on there because everyone has their mindset. Oh man, I gotta paddle. You never paddle. You're pedaling. You can go for miles. That chair, you're not sitting in the water. You're completely up and you're dry. And it moves to different positions if you get uncomfortable. I mean, it's just, I've sat in that boat for 10, 12 hours straight, pedaled 10 miles in a day. Like those are, if anyone's in the market for a kayak, go see Ron, go see any Hobie dealer and test drive one of those before you get yourself into any other boat. You'll be very, very happy that you did. I know it's sticker shock. You see the little bit more money, the durability of those boats. Like you guys all see what I put those boats, our kayaks through. We're going on the shore all the time. We're in and out of the pongas. We're, washing them, banging them around, everything. Those things are so durable. They put up with everything. You know what I mean? And that's a testament to the quality of that product is what we put them through down there on the island. So yeah, it's worth the extra dough. It's a one-time buy. And the resale value, I sold our kayaks on the island after 3 years. Ron took those things in and it was basically a wash for the new boats. Like they sold, everyone bought them. They were gone, you know what I mean? Because they're such a good boat. They hold up, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's can't say enough about Hobie and all that they do. Kevin and Morgan and Howie, all the guys over there at Hobie, they take care of my place. Jim Salazar, Ron Lane, they've all come down. Pete Gray, all those guys came down and set up those boats. Like those boats are completely professionally rigged. So when you get on one of those kayaks, it's been taken care of by Fastlane Kayaks. All of his guys rigged those boats. So, can't say enough about all the support I've gotten from all those kind of people.
For sure. And we can't thank Hobie enough as well. And they've been loyal sponsors as well. Kevin, all those guys are really, really fun. We do have a couple last minute questions for you.
Cool.
Wayne wants to know, when using bait, what hook size and style do you use? And do you need weights and swivels as well?
So for me, I'm a Gamakatsu live bait hook, J hook guy. Not really a circle hook fan, but maybe that could just be because I don't use them enough. But I'm just a J hook guy. 3/0 to 5/0, those are the two sizes that I use pretty much for everything. I may go down to size 1 every now and then if we get smaller baits, but pretty much for the mackerel that we find on the island, it's 3/0 to 5/0. Pretty much exclusively. And again, it's more your brand, whatever your favorite live bait hook is. If you're a circle hook person, then, use a circle hook. They'll all work. You know what I mean? Like it's more about not using too big a one, compared to the size bait that you're using for sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm just looking through these comments. Everyone's ranting and raving about their Hobie kayaks. Carrie just said that she just put deposits down on new Hobies at Fastlane. So that's good. And then lastly, with all these cancellations with June and the earlier part of the year and now into July, what's your schedule looking like for the later half of the year? Do you have any openings coming up, or how can we book with you?
Yeah, for sure. So there's still some stuff left for September. Basically what I'm doing is the guys who I have to unfortunately cancel, I'm asking them if they want to move. And then I go ahead and we'll try to find a spot for them later in the season. To see if we can fill some of those spots or they'll move to next year. But yeah, there's some spots left for September. Still got spots for October. I know November people are thinking, oh man, no, the weather in November is typically very, very nice in Cedros. Good temperatures, no wind, and everything that was up here, you guys got to remember, is now leaving, heading south, and they got to pass Cedros. So the fishing is very, very good in November. I do have a few trips already set up for November. Obviously right now, like I'm not taking anyone's money. We're just like, I'll put your name down. I'll consider you pinned in because that's, we work on trust around here. And if we get to go, we get to go. And if not, man, then, we're going to hope to go next year. You know what I mean? But right now I still got my fingers crossed. Like I know I kind of said some things. Everyone's probably worried. Oh man, you know what I mean? Like, but we just got to hope, you know what I mean? Things change overnight in Mexico. Everyone has to remember that. Like we could be saying this today, tomorrow they could say, oh, okay, we're going to start flying again. We don't care about the airport. You know what I mean? So it's just month to month really, you know what I mean? For all of us. So.
Yep. For sure. As is up here. Well, Jeff, we're about out of time. You're the best, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on and answering all these questions for us. How do we get in touch with you if we want to go fishing with you?
Man, thank you so much. This has been super fun. I love talking Cedros and fishing, and I can't believe that an hour's gone by already. I wish it was 2 hours. Anyone, you can call me anytime. My cell phone, 760-412-2507. I love talking Cedros. Even if you're not traveling with me and you want some information for your trip coming up, please feel free to call me anytime. I'll give you the latest fish report and everything that I know, what's going on at the island. We have our website, cedroskayakfishing.com, and you can email me at I believe our new email, we just changed the email over again, Jeff at Cedros Kayak Fishing works, cedrostackle@gmail.com works. So go on the website, you'll see all the information, but best way, give me a call, man. Love talking Cedros. So thanks again, Chris. I really appreciate this opportunity. You and Wayne have always supported my program and everything that I've done, and I really look forward to getting you down to my pad and doing some fishing, man.
Absolutely. I share that same excitement, man. I'm super stoked to get down there. And one last thing, I got to thank you so much for donating your recent donation to the Day on the Bay with CCA over the weekend in San Diego. Jeff, for those of you who don't know, Jeff actually donated 4 spots. He paid for 4 spots for actually 4 veterans as well.
Right.
To fish the tournament. So we can't thank you enough, my friend.
Oh, I'm glad that worked out. I just had my hip fixed, so I wasn't able to get down there and be part of that with you guys. So the next best thing is to try to help some people get down there and do some fishing that maybe, are a little tight right now. So really glad to participate as always. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, like I said, thank you so much, my friend. We really appreciate you coming out.
Right on, man. Thanks a lot. And thank you to everybody. We'll be talking soon.
Awesome. Also, guys, I can't stress enough. We still have the AB 3030 going on. If you go to our website, ccacalifornia.org, we've got some calls to action there. You can join CCA. That's one great way to help out. You can also donate. Along with, you can actually send letters to your senator. There's actually a link right on the homepage. We need everyone to participate. Really, really need everybody's help. And if you don't know how to help, or if you've already done everything that you can and still want to, just contact us. Contact us at ccacalifornia.org. Send me an email. All you have to do is hit a contact on our website, and we'll get you involved. So I just wanted to add that tidbit. But Jeff, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate you.
Thanks again for inviting me, man. Super appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, and take care.
All right. Talk to you.